Feminine leadership is taking responsibility for your thoughts, feelings, vibration, and reality. Feminine leadership is understanding that you are the person who decides how you feel. Not the guy who doesn't show up or the guy who isn't ready for commitment. You get to feel good and aligned and loved and taken care of, even if the guy isn't showing up or if he isn't in your life yet. Feminine leadership is creating an experience in your mind where you are connected with your soulmate. And from that vibration, you are irresistible to the love that you desire. The thing about it is that it has no choice but to show up. And it wants to show up. Feminine leadership is when you give the lover the opportunity to show up in a supportive way because you're willing to hold a supportive vibration regardless. Feminine leadership is when you're willing to hold the vision of the guy in his masculine energy. Feminine leadership is when you're willing to hold the vision. Okay, we don't talk about this in the episode, and now is a perfect time to mention it. There's a gospel song, okay? And the gospel song is called Best in Me. Great song. And in the gospel song, the guy is singing about God. God saw the best in me. God saw the best in me when everyone else around could only see the worst in me. So in Christianity, that's what I'm basing this off of. The Bible teaches, that God is only seeing the best in you. God is not seeing your quote unquote sins. God is not seeing the choices and decisions that you make that are outside of your integrity. From a law of attraction perspective, right? Abraham Hicks teaches that your inner being, when you want something, when you desire something, your inner being becomes a vibrational match to your desire. And then your inner being holds the vibration of what you want. So even when you're feeling sad and scared that the money isn't going to show up, your inner being, your soul, is still a vibrational match to the wealth. Are you seeing how that's kind of basically the same exact thing? Even when you're showing up afraid and terrified that the relationship isn't going to work, even when you're feeling afraid that you can't trust the guy, that you can't rely on the guy, even when you're operating out of your abandonment wounds, your inner being remains a vibrational match to that relationship. And it's because your inner being remains a vibrational match to the relationship of your dreams and desires that you are always being guided downstream towards what you want and desire. Because your inner being, the greater part of you, your soul, the part of you that is eternally connected to infinite intelligence, because that part of you is always holding the vibration of what you want, the greater part of you is always calling you towards your desire. And that's why in your manifestation process, what you're doing is you're clearing those old stories that you've been telling, because you're the only one who's freaking out. You're the only one who's scared. You're the only one who thinks it won't work out. You're the only one who thinks you could be rejected. You're the only one who thinks that you could be unwanted. Your inner being is holding that vibration, and God is showing up in your life in the same exact way. God is seeing you and holding a vision of you, holding a vision of your highest potential, seeing you as all that you can be. And that's why in testimonies where people talk about, I was having the worst experience ever in life, and I really thought that everything was over, and then God completely turned it around. Because God is going to hold the vision for you and your future and for what He created you to do and walk out, regardless of the choices and decisions that you make. Abraham Hicks' law of attraction teaches there's no such thing as getting so pinched off from your inner being. There's no such thing as telling so many stories of fear. There's no such thing as telling the story that you're going to be rejected or abandoned so many times that you become completely pinched off from your inner being. It's impossible to sever that tie with your soul. It's impossible to self-sabotage so much that God looks at you and is like, you know what? I'm giving up on this. They're never showing up, right? At any given moment in time, you always have the opportunity to ask to see things differently. At any given moment in time, you always have the opportunity to open up to receive the guidance, the love, the support that is always available to you. Feminine leadership is when you start, it's like that Ariana Grande song where she says, I want to love me the way that you love me. Feminine leadership is when you start loving yourself and the other people in your life the way that God loves you. Feminine leadership is when you start perceiving yourself and the other people in your life the way that your inner being perceives things. Feminine leadership is when you understand, when you're willing to hold the vision of men showing up in your life, your man showing up in your life, your soulmate showing up in your life in a healthy, safe, secure, reliable, masculine energy, regardless of what's happening in the physical reality. That's feminine leadership. In today's episode, we're breaking down what is feminine leadership. We're getting into a generalized breakdown of how to lead in a feminine way. You're understanding more about masculinity, you're understanding more about femininity, and you're also understanding how you use feminine leadership in every single aspect of life, whether it's business, relationships, or the family that you have. It's a way of being. Today's episode is a masterclass on feminine energy, masculine energy, and what it means to take feminine leadership in both your love and your life. Also, because I don't say this during the episode, I have to remind you now that I am open for personal bookings. So if you want to schedule a session with me because you want my personalized support and perspective, then you can do so using the links in the description or the show notes, depending on where you're listening. Okay, I am done talking now. Let's get into it. Right now, you're listening to Naked and Noisy, Manifestation Tools for the Professional Woman. I'm Natalie Hughes, your host and your coach in this series. In each episode, I'm giving you the tools that you need to create the life you've always dreamed of without the soul-crushing sacrifice that you were taught to endure. Whether you're ready to be treated like the industry leader that you are, you're ready to be drunk in love with your soulmate, or you're ready to wake up to a closet full of Jimmy Choo every morning, this is the podcast for you. Feminine leadership is what you think you're doing when you're being passive aggressive. And in today's episode, I'm going to help you ditch that passive aggressive behavior so that you can be empowered in your life instead of underhanded and calculated in a negative way. And we actually have to go deeper into that. When you're being passive aggressive, when a great example of this, let's say that somebody doesn't do something that you want, so then you give them silent treatment. This is very popular among women. I'm going to remove my energy. I'm going to stop talking to you. I'm going to stop hanging around you. I'm going to stop coming around you. And then when I stop coming around you, when I stop talking to you, then you're going to respect me. Then you're going to care about me. Then you're going to you're going to value me. You're only going to value me once you've experienced my absence. So I'm going to pull away my energy. And I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'm going to teach you how terrible life can be without having me in it. And then you're going to be motivated by your fear to show up differently in the relationship. You're going to be motivated by your fear of losing me. You're going to be motivated by your fear of me abandoning you. Jesus Christ, that got really deep, didn't it? You're going to be motivated by your fear of me abandoning you to show up in a better feeling way. Really quick nuance there. Of course, you want to have boundaries in your life. And there's a difference between showing up in the world, walking away from relationships that you don't want to walk away from, creating a dynamic where you're leaving somebody out in the cold, even though that's not what you want, because you don't feel empowered in your life, because you don't communicate directly, because you don't have that skill of feminine leadership developed, operating in that toxic feminine way is the only way that you know how to be empowered, right? There's that experience. And then there's also the experience of being a grown woman with great boundaries who respects herself. And a woman with great boundaries who respects herself isn't going to accept certain behavior, period. So there's a difference between showing up and being passive aggressive and, allowing people to experience the natural consequences of mistreating and hurting you, which is obviously we're not going to connect. Obviously, we're not going to continue in a relationship. Obviously, I don't want you in my life. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just throwing that out there. And now we're focusing back on that passive aggressive, disempowered way of being. That's what it is. It's a disempowered way of being. So feminine leadership, on the other hand, feminine leadership is empowerment of your mind, empowerment of your emotions, empowerment of your feelings, empowerment of your focus. Right? Because we all know this. If you've been listening to the podcast, which you should have been. Hi, if you're new here. Go listen to everything that I've ever said ever in life. And, you'll thank me for it. But if you've been listening for a while, then you've heard me say that the thoughts that you think, the way that you're perceiving the world, determines the emotions that you feel. The emotions that you feel, that's how you vibrate. That's the vibration that you're emitting. Law of attraction, like attracts like. The vibration that you're emitting is going to attract thoughts, people, places, situations, experiences, all of that good stuff into your life. Feminine leadership is when I'm taking ownership, responsibility, and authority for my mind, my thoughts, my feelings, my vibration, and consequently, my entire life experience. Feminine leadership is having an awareness of what's alive within me and how whatever it is that's alive within me is attracting people, places, situations, thoughts, circumstances, and experiences into my life. So that passive aggressive way of being is like when I come around and people don't take care of me, people don't support me, people don't make me feel safe and secure. In those moments, people are reflecting back the stories and assumptions that I have about how I deserve to be treated. When people are neglecting me, when people aren't respecting my boundaries, when people aren't making me feel safe, when people aren't showing up for me, they're reflecting back. There's something in my vibration. There's something in my thoughts. There's something in my subconscious mind that is available for this behavior. But when I'm not taking feminine leadership of my life, we're talking specifically relationships in this episode, when I'm not taking feminine leadership in my relationships, I'm ignoring the fact that a story going on in my subconscious mind is that I'm abandonable. I'm ignoring the fact that a story going on in my subconscious mind is that I'm not lovable, that I'm not good enough, that men will abandon me, that men don't take me seriously, that men only want sexual intimacy, that men are emotionally unavailable. I'm ignoring the fact that that story is running in my subconscious mind. And instead of focusing on feminine leadership, instead of focusing on looking at what's alive within me, shifting what's alive within me, I'm going to try to handle this in a hyper masculine way. Masculine leadership, and it's not that you have to do either one or the other. It's that you're going to tap into different energies at different times for different things, right? In business, feminine leadership is holding the vibration, holding the feelings of the women coming in. My women are coming in from all over the world. The women who are meant to come into my courses, the women who are meant to come into my programs, the women who are meant to come into this Love After Loss course, the women who are ready for their soulmates are coming in. I see them coming in. I feel them coming in. They're coming in. They're paying in full. I'm reaching my financial goals. I'm being taken care of. I feel so taken care of by money. I feel so taken care of by my community. I'm reaching my financial goals. I'm doing it. I'm celebrating. I'm getting myself a cake and I'm getting myself ice cream and I'm so happy and I can imagine myself. I can visualize myself opening up my bank accounts and I see my bank accounts. They're filling up. My investments are growing and expanding. I'm investing more than I've ever invested before. I'm saving more than I've ever saved before. And I'm able to make these financial purchases and I'm able to do all of these things. And I feel more free and I feel more excited, right? As I just went on that little rampage, I can feel, because I'm very sensitive, I can feel my energy moving in my body. I can feel my body, specifically my hands, starting to tingle as energy shifts and moves in my body. I use my thoughts to impact how I feel, which impacts the vibration that I am emitting. And because I'm so tuned in, tapped in, turned on to my feminine energy, my emotions, when I am using my focus, when I'm using my thoughts, when I'm using my imagination to impact the vibration that I'm emitting, I can feel it physically in my body. It's another reason why I'm always going to advocate for you to identify how you feel. Because this work of manifesting gets so much easier when you become so sensitive to energy, so sensitive to how you feel, that you can go on a rampage, you can do a meditation, you can feel your heart glowing, you can feel energy shifting in your physical body, and that's an instant manifestation. It's so much easier for me to believe and expect positive change in my life when I can feel that energy shifting in my body, when I can feel myself aligning to the income of my desire, or the relationship of my desire, the person of my desire, the intimacy of my desire, right? So leadership. Masculine leadership is I'm taking action. Masculine leadership, hyper masculine leadership is like, I'm not going to celebrate until I have met my quota. Masculine leadership is like, feel wealthy right now. How could I feel wealthy right now when there's no money in my bank account? That's masculine leadership. Feel happy. Feel like I'm in my dream relationship now, but there's no man in sight. Masculine, that hyper masculine way of being is like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. I'm not going to believe it until I can taste it and touch it and hear it and feel it, like physically. That hyper masculine way of being needs proof. So when you live your life according to that hyper masculine way of being, you make things so incredibly difficult for yourself because you're living in a vibrational universe. You're living in a vibrational universe. Everything is responding to vibration. And your physical reality is a reflection of the past. The money that you have in your bank account is a reflection of what you were thinking about money yesterday or 2 days ago or 2 weeks ago or 2 months ago. Your thoughts are always impacting your vibration, which is always attracting things to you. So by the time that something is manifested in your physical reality, it's a reflection of where you were XYZ amount of time ago. Feminine leadership understands this. Feminine leadership understands, okay, feminine leadership is like the definition of working smarter, not harder. People who came up with the phrase work smarter, not harder were not hyper masculine people. People who tell you the story, in order to succeed and get what you want out of life, you have to work hard. That's hyper masculine. That's a hyper masculine way of being. So in your relationships, I want to meet my guy. I want to meet my person. So I'm going to go golfing. I'm sorry, I had to say it like that. Now, I saw one TikTok of this one girl, and she was out with her boyfriend and they were golfing, and she had on such a cute golfing outfit. And that was like the whole premise of the TikTok. Like, when you go golfing with your boyfriend, so you get to wear these cute clothes. And I'm like, you know what? And I'll do a lot of things for the fashion of it. I'll do a lot of things. I will take every opportunity given to me in order to look cute. So that makes sense to me. That resonates with me. That I'm open to. But the women who show up in the world, you want to meet a guy, then you have to go out. You want to meet a guy, then you have to go out, and you have to go out by yourself. You have to go out without your friends, and you have to go to a bar, and you have to sit, and you have to look like this. You've seen that video. You probably have. It's a very popular video online. And it's of this woman, this creator. No hate to her, but I am going to criticize it from an energetic vibrational standpoint. We are having a conversation about feminine leadership. Nothing against her personally. But she's doing this whole thing, and she's got this whole soft life. I just show up and men take care of me and men pay for me and da-da-da-da-da, right? Like, that's her whole thing. And so she's sitting in this restaurant and she's eating this food, and she's like, I see the guy that I want to pay for my meal, but the waiter keeps talking to him. And the whole video is her eating her food, and she looks stressed and she looks frustrated, and she keeps looking over to the table. And there's like this whole training boot camp moment of this is what you have to do. This is how you have to look. Those videos, they're very popular online. One of them is like a meme right now. You need to be mindful of why you were invited to the section. And if you haven't seen it, it's just a video of this woman, and it's like a skit. And in the first skit, she is invited into a section. She comes in, she's dancing, she's twerking, she is, acting. Oh, these are such anti-Black ideas and concepts. But the best thing that I have is that she's showing up and she's acting what most people would label to be like ghetto or ratchet, which I hate that. We don't have time. Just keep moving. And then in the second one, she's like, this is how you're supposed to act. When you are invited by a man or by men into the section at the club, you're supposed to, and she's walking into this next section of the skit, and she's more, you would label it as like classy, elegant. She's not jumping around. She's not twerking. She's not moving her body provocatively. When she goes to sit on the chair, she's like sitting down slowly. You know what I'm saying? And I just think that it's a big crock of bullshit. I get to the club, let the DJ put on some music that I like, and it's over. I don't give a fuck. Personally, I came here to dance. I love to dance. I love to have a good time. I was always going to do that because that's just how I am. And if that makes me ghetto and ratchet, and a wealthy man would never love me because of that, then so fucking be it. Except, what do we know to be true? That is so obviously not true. And I have an example in my mind. So years ago, this was in like 2021 or 2022. Okay, this was a couple years ago. I went to go get my nails done. I got a new acrylic set. And this was like the first time that I went to this new girl. Shout out to Susie. She's very good, really talented. And when I was there getting my nails done, there was this song that was playing, and it's a song by YG, and I think the title of the song is called Want Her, and the chorus of the song, I think it's called a chorus, is basically just saying like, all the rich niggas want her. Like, that's the song over and over again. All the rich niggas want her. And obviously that resonated with me because, I am who I am. Anyway, so I got my nails done. I love that song. First thing that I did when I left her house, because that's where I was getting my nails done, was I added that song to my Spotify. So I got my nails done and I'm feeling so good and I'm feeling so confident. And when you get your nails done and you just really feel like that bitch, like, when you get your nails done, and I don't just mean like a normal manicure. I don't mean like a gel manicure, even though I love a gel manicure. When I get a gel manicure, it depends. It depends on the look. It depends on the shape. It depends on the vibe. But specifically, I had gone and I got these acrylic nails, and they're maybe like medium length, and they were like kind of like coffin shape, but not like a dramatic coffin shape. I have my nails up on my Instagram. Maybe those nails are, I don't think those nails are on that Instagram, but I think I have example. No, that's my personal Instagram. Whatever. You'll have to believe me. One day I will show you. I'll post it to my story, okay? I promise. If you listen to this within the next 24 hours of me posting it, you can go to my Instagram story and you can see, I'll give examples of the nails and the shit that I like. So I get these specific nails done, and there's probably like cheetah print on them, and it's probably like some sort of like French tip cheetah print moment, because like that's just my whole fucking vibe. And when I have that particular just nail set on, I just feel like a sexy freak. Like there's nothing else that I can say. There's no other way that I can put it. Like it gets you in that mood. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying. So anyway, so I have these nails done, and they're like really sharp. They're not pointy sharp, but like the edges are sharp. And I just feel like so fierce, so good, so fabulous, so amazing. This conversation makes me want to get my nails done. I need every single person who listens to this to enroll in the Love After Loss course right now so that I can reach my financial goals and I can book an appointment with Susie. Thank you in advance. So I get my nails done, and I'm feeling so good, and I'm driving, and I don't remember where I was going, but I had this song playing, and I'm dancing in my car, and I'm just being myself. And girl, I looked over to my right, and there is this middle-aged white gentleman. And he's driving a Lexus, and he's looking into my car, and he's smiling at me, and he starts like kind of dancing, but not actually, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, kind of like looking at me like, yeah, like. Anyway, he was into it. I looked at him and I laughed, and then I turned back to face forward. And then the light was green, and I went because that wasn't something that I was interested or open to pursuing at the time. And this had to have been in 2021. This had to have been. I don't fucking remember when this was. But anyway, that's a great example. That's a great example. I don't know if that man was rich, but I know for a fact that he was not poor. So that is a real life example of me being the opposite of mindful of why I was invited into the section, and a rich man being like, oh wow, this is so good. Of course, obviously, because it's me, because I feel good about myself, because I feel confident about myself from an energetic standpoint. You're not going to be more attractive to somebody else than when you're feeling confident in yourself, than when you're loving yourself, than when you're loving what you do, than when you're happy and excited. Like, that's attractive. That's magnetic. It's irresistible. Like, duh. So anyway, there are these hyper masculine ways of teaching women online how to find a guy. Have you seen that video? This is a video from like years ago, and I gotta paraphrase it because I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've referenced it before. And it's this woman, she's like a dating coach. They're on TikTok, and she's asking the lady, she's like, the coach is asking this lady who's on live with her, okay, when you go to the bar and a handsome man comes up to you and he asks you what kind of drink you'd like, and what do you tell him? And she said something like, I want a Hennessy and Coke or something like that, right? Okay, she says some sort of drink like that that's not a quote unquote ladylike drink. And the woman's like, Hennessy? The woman's like, a man asks you what you want to drink and you tell him Hennessy? And she's basically like, that's not attractive. That's wrong. That's bad. Man asks you what you want to drink. You're supposed to tell him a lemon drop, a martini, a daiquiri. fuck she said, but there's a feminine drink that you have to ask for and you have to do this and blah, blah, blah. Long story short, femininity is in you, not on you. I have another real life example. How many real life examples do you have, bitch? How many real life examples do you have? I was not thinking about this, but as I'm talking about this stupid shit, I'm like, okay, I don't know. I would have to go and find this coach and ask her if this is a masculine drink. But the drink that I like, the drink that I buy, 9 times out of 10, unless there's something different on the menu, something unique, like a house drink or special or something like that, that sounds interesting, I probably am going to order a Manhattan. Just like base, it's my favorite drink. 10 out of 10 would recommend, right? Maybe that's a masculine thing to drink. I don't know if that's a feminine thing to drink, but it's not a fucking lemon drop. And I went on a cruise in 2022. Yeah, I went on a cruise around Christmas of 2022. And when I was on the cruise ship, there was a man. And I met a man on the cruise ship, and he was drinking an old fashioned and I was drinking a Manhattan, and I said that I think old fashions are disgusting, and he was like, it's basically the same drink as a Manhattan. There's only one ingredient that's changed. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe old fashions aren't disgusting. Maybe when I was, and this is like a 2.5 because I didn't have that discussion with him on the cruise ship, but maybe the fact is that the first and only time that I had an old fashioned was when I was traveling across the country during the global pandemic, and I was in Tennessee. I was either in Memphis or Chattanooga, but I'm pretty sure that it was Memphis, Tennessee. And I ordered like a DoorDash, Uber Eats, whatever thing from a restaurant. And then I got an old fashioned drink. And when I tell you, bitch, that was fucking disgusting. It had an olive in it. The olive tastes like the olive was soaked in alcohol. It was just nasty. It wasn't nasty like, oh my God, this is a strong drink. Like, no, it was just real life. Like, it was disgusting. And from that point forward, I was like, I hate old fashions, but I love a Manhattan. And so now we're back to the story that I was telling you about the cruise ship. So me and this guy are getting into it. We're going back and forth because I'm like, old fashions are disgusting. And he's like, old fashions are great. Manhattan is basically the same thing. We like the same thing. And then we're going back and forth. And then it kind of turned into like not like a screaming match. Like I was like screaming as loud as I can, but we were kind of like arguing. And it was actually at that moment in time that I realized that that old way of being where guys like pick on girls or are mean to girls, and it's like we're fighting and we don't like each other and sexual tension is building. I realized that that was no longer just the woman that I was, because I wasn't turned on. I was annoyed. And then it wasn't until I observed him flirting with another woman in that same childish style that I was like, oh, he was flirting with me. I was not flirting with him. I was genuinely annoyed, and I thought that he was being dumb. What's my point? My point is this. There's so much advice out there that just doesn't resonate with me at all. And that doesn't resonate with me because of my own personal life experience, but it's hyper masculine. Hyper masculine needs to have a concrete formula with steps. Hyper masculine, and there's nothing wrong with the formula, because y'all know that I love a formula. If you're in any of my courses, if you're in any of my programs, y'all know that I love that. My free offer, the 6 Steps from Stuck to Self-Aware bundle, that workbook, you get my signature 6-step process to identifying any limiting belief. Like, I love a process. I love a formula. But a hyper masculine way of being needs things to be very cookie cutter. Hyper masculine way of being needs things to fit a very specific standard. And anything outside of that standard, anything outside of the status quo has to go, isn't good enough. Individuality does not work in a hyper masculine society because your individuality is about your well-being. Your individuality is about your soul's expression. Hyper masculinity doesn't give a fuck about your soul's expression. Hyper masculinity gives a fuck about the end result, no matter the cost. And that's why in hypermasculine structures, in terms of like business, work, your professional life, you end up burnt out. You end up working all the time for the job, not making as much money, not receiving. You're in a hypermasculine way of being where you're ignoring your emotional well-being. You're ignoring your feelings. You're ignoring your soul. You're ignoring what you need. The man that's going to be the man for you, the man that's going to be your soulmate, a hyper masculine relationship coach, is going to tell you you need to be something that you're not in order to get love. That hyper masculine coach, she might help you get a man. She might be able to help you get a ring on your finger, but is she going to help you get your soulmate? Is she going to help you get the love of your life? Different people have different goals. Different people have different goals. There's a difference between getting a man and getting an aligned man. There's a difference between getting a man and getting an aligned man. And you know what the hell I'm talking about, Miranda. Because you're listening to this and you're single. But I know this because you're in my world. So you're beautiful and you're desirable and you're successful. You're wanted. You're listening to this. You don't have a man. But could you have a man at your house by tonight if you wanted one? If you wanted anyone, let's be honest. Let's be real. Let's be serious. Could you download a dating app right here and right now and have a date by tonight if you had absolutely no standards? I can help you get a date. I can teach you how to get a date. I can teach you how to get a husband. Follow this formula. You don't just want a husband. You don't just want a guy. You don't just want a man. You don't just want an end result. So that hyper masculine way of being isn't going to work for you because you have to take into account your soul, your soulmate. That woman's soulmate is going to be a Hennessy drinking man who likes a Hennessy drinking woman, or he's just going to be a man who likes a Hennessy drinking woman. Your soulmate. The person who is going to align with your heart and your soul is going to align with your truth. The truth of who you are, genuinely and authentically. So anybody telling you not to be your genuine, authentic self, they might help you get a man, but will they help you get your soulmate? No. How am I going to find a man? What am I going to do? I'm going to take myself to a golfing place. Are you kidding me? So I'm going to meet this man golfing? What if I hate it there? What if I don't like it? When he asks me what I'm doing there, am I telling him that I'm here to get a man because I want a husband? And this is where successful, wealthy men go? Is that what I'm telling him? Or am I lying? Am I saying that I like golf, even though I don't like golf? Am I saying that I'm here because I like to wear a cute outfit? That's what I would say. I mean, I would only say it if it was true. I would say I'm here looking for my husband and I wanted to wear a cute outfit, but that's just me. And the man who I'm going to marry would eat that shit up because, made for each other and stuff. But you put yourself in a situation where you have to lie. You have to lie and you have to pretend that you like golf when you don't fucking like golf. Now you're dating this guy. He's like, oh my God, perfect example, bitch. Shut up. Shut up. Let me stop making something up and let me give you a real life example. And that real life example is from a television show. And that television show is That's So Raven. Do y'all remember the episode of That's So Raven? If you don't remember it, I'm gonna give you the summary right now. Long story short, Raven, the main character, likes this guy. And the guy that she likes is like real athletic, right? And she's like, ooh, like I want that guy. I need to get with that guy. And it turns out that that guy thinks that this girl is cute. The girl's name is Natasha. And so Natasha is this Russian gymnast exchange student. And Raven's like, you know what? I kind of look like Natasha. So Raven pretends to be Natasha. She pretends that she's a gymnast. She pretends to be something that she's not. And you have to follow me with this, okay? She pretends to be something that she's not. And then at some point she gets sick. She gets this cold, or she pretends to have a cold so she doesn't have to go to this fucking gymnast meet. No. You have to give the full episode. I haven't seen this in a couple of years, but bitch, it's all coming back to me now, okay? Word to Celine Dion. So she's like, yeah, I'm Natasha. I'm a Russian gymnast. She's like talking in a fake accent and shit. He shows up to her house. He's like, oh my God, you're a gymnast? I'm an athlete. Let's go run together. He shows up to her house at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's like, yeah. She wakes up. Oh no, he's like ringing the fucking doorbell. Her dad wakes up. Her dad's like, what the fuck is going on here? So then she goes out. They go running at 6 o'clock in the morning. She's not somebody who runs. She's not somebody who has trained in that way. So she's fucking exhausted. She's tired of shit. Long story short, at some point she gets sick, or she pretends to be sick. This man comes to her house. He's like, oh, I brought you soup, and I looked up your culture, and I know that in your culture you drink this fishy soup, so I got you this fishy soup. And she's like, oh my God, you got me this fishy soup? And the whole time she's like disgusted because she doesn't want this fishy soup, and she's not even fucking sick. She's pretending to be something that she's not. And then by the end of the episode, after she has embarrassed herself giving this terrible fucking gymnast routine, she goes to him. She's like, I have a confession. I'm not Natasha. I'm not the girl that you think I am. And then she's like, this is the real Natasha. And then he's like, so you like fish soup? And Natasha's like, I love fish soup. And then they like fucking ride off into the sunset together. You know what I'm saying? That hyper masculine way of being says that if you want to get your desire, if you want to get your man, you have to be something different than who you truly are. If you want to be loved, you have to be something different than who you truly are. And you end up in a situation where you're a Raven pretending to be a Natasha. But that guy was not Raven's soulmate. Because your soulmate is going to love who you truly are. And then later on in the series, Raven meets Devon. And we have to go full circle. Later on in the series, Raven meets Devon. And Devon is like Raven's soulmate. And Devon and Raven end up getting together, and then Devon has to move because of his dad's job or something like that. And his dad is getting married. And so Raven is like, I have to stop this wedding or something. So then Raven dresses up as the bride and walks down the aisle, crashes these people's wedding. And instead of being like, Raven, you're fucking insane, never speak to me again, Devon is like, I love you, right? I don't remember the episode, but I know that basically that's what the fuck happened, okay? Devon and Raven were so compatible on a soul level. It was genuine, authentic connection that was happening between these two people. There's somebody on the planet who's going to love your freaky weirdo shit. And you want the person that's going to love your freaky weirdo shit. Because that's the only way that you're going to be able to feel truly loved. You pretend to be somebody that you're not. You pretend to be interested in things that you're not interested in. You pretend to like fruity drinks, even though what you want to be doing is drinking Hennessy. And you get the guy, but then you get to spend the rest of your fucking life not drinking the liquor that you want to drink, or you get married, you get the ring, and then a couple years down the line, I don't know why my marriage sucks. I don't know why I'm unhappy. I got the marriage, I got the relationship, I got the guy, I got the money. I thought that this was supposed to fulfill me. What's going on? Yeah, you followed that fucking hyper-masculine way of being. You didn't take into account how you wanted to feel. You didn't take into account the fact that you want to be accepted for who the fuck you truly are. Feminine leadership instead of masculine leadership, instead of going, wealthy men, successful men don't like Hennessy drinking women, right? Instead of that stupid shit. Feminine leadership is tapping into that energy. Imagine yourself being loved. You don't need every single successful man in the world to fantasize at night about a Hennessy drinking woman. You don't need that. You don't need that. All you need is one. You mean to tell me 7 billion people on planet Earth? You think there's not one man? You think there's not one successful man that fantasizes about a woman who is not mindful of why she was invited into the section? Really? I'm not really into statistics and I'm not really into probability. I withdrew from statistics in college before I dropped out of college because fuck that class. But also the teacher was really bad. So maybe me and statistics don't have beef. But anyway, I'm pretty sure the probability that out of 7 billion people, how many billions of men are out there in the world? How many billions of straight men, how many billions of men would be interested in you? The probability of there being one, only one, you only need one, that's going to love you for who you truly are. I mean, I think it's pretty high. I think it's pretty high. So that feminine way of being isn't changing who you are, it's changing how you think. It's changing what you believe. It's changing what you expect. It's changing what you assume. That's feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is taking yourself to that place in your imagination. And what would it be like if I was at a bar and a man came up to me and a man said, "You look like such a beautiful princess, goddess, queen. Please bless me by allowing me." This is my fantasy. By allowing... That's exactly how I expect men to speak to me. Please bless me by allowing me to buy you a drink. And you say, yes. You say, okay. And you say, I would like a Hennessy. I don't know what fucking drinks have Hennessy in it, bitch. I don't drink Hennessy. I don't like it. But whatever. You say, give me your finest, top of the line Hennessy in a drink. And he says, wow, I'll also take a Hennessy. And then he asks you about that. Is Hennessy your favorite drink? You're like, oh, I love Hennessy. Back when I was in college, I really loved tequila. I think Patron is amazing, but Hennessy stole my heart when I was 25 years old and I went out with my friends and I had this Hennessy and this drink for the first time and I had the greatest time of my life with my girlfriends, and now every single time that I'm out I have to order a drink with Hennessy and it just brings back all of those good memories and da 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 da. And the guy's like, oh my God, that's such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that story with me. That's so amazing. You're so sexy. You're so wonderful. Tell me more about your life. Tell me more about your amazing friendships. I love that you're so sentimental. I love the emotional attachment that you have to Hennessy. Like, that's your man. That's your soulmate. Feminine leadership is when you take yourself to that place in your mind, because as you're sitting and imagining that guy who loves that you're a Hennessy drinking lady, as you're sitting and imagining that guy, oh my God, total meet cute scenario. Could you imagine? Okay, if we were creating a storyline, ooh, this is so good. I feel like a director and a writer. So here's the storyline. The character's not me. The character's a random lady. The character is you. If you like Hennessy, follow me. You're going into this bar and there's another man going into the bar at the same time. And maybe there's two entrances to the bar, right? And at the same exact time, you guys both get to the bar and then you both look at the bartender, and at the same exact time, you guys say, can I have a Hennessy and whatever? I've never ordered a Hennessy before, okay? I don't know the fucking Hennessy drinks. Just pretend. And you guys both say it at the same time. And then the bartender is standing there like, oh, I don't know who I'm going to take first. And then the guy, because he's chivalrous, is like, you can make her drink first and I'll pay for it. And boom, you just have a fucking meet cute. What can I say? I do this. It's in me. It's in me, not on me. Steven Spielberg has been incredibly quiet since I came up with that idea. Okay? The point is, I'm sorry, that was really funny of me. Okay. The point is, when you're imagining that scenario, you're emitting that vibration of what would it be like if I attracted a man who was just so compatible with me? What would it be like if I attracted a man who drank the same kind of drink that I drink? What would it be like if I attracted a man who was attracted to who I truly am? You play in that. What happens? Your thoughts impact how you feel. How you feel impacts how you vibrate. How you vibrate is what you're emitting. What you're vibrating is attracting things to you. What's happening now? You're attracting new thoughts. You're attracting new ideas. You're attracting new experiences. You're attracting new people. Look at that. Your soulmate. Boom. Active in your vibration. Making his way towards you. All because you sat and fantasized about a meet cute where you both ordered Hennessy at the same time. That's manifestation. That's feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is when you're showing up, asking yourself, how do you want to feel? How do you want to be treated? And feminine leadership is when you acknowledge that there's a part of me, that woman in that video, that TikTok, the live, whatever, the woman who was attracted to that particular coach, the reason why she was a vibrational match to that coach is because she's telling herself the story that she's not worthy of love because of where she comes from, because of who she is. She's telling the story that she's not good enough. That coach isn't a reflection of the only thing that she gets to have. That coach is a reflection of her vibration. I know this from experience. I attracted coaches who told me the name of your course sucks. I attracted coaches that told me your marketing is childish. I attracted coaches that told me you're not good enough. This isn't good enough. This has to change. This is why you're not getting clients. This is why you're not getting clients. This is why you're not getting clients. And none of it was true. It was all a reflection of the fact that I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel like anything I did was good enough. I didn't feel like I was good enough as a person. And if I'm not good enough as a person, then the courses I create aren't going to be good enough. The marketing that I do isn't going to be good enough. The plans that I make aren't going to be good enough. And then as I loved myself more and as I shifted my own energy and I started believing in myself more and I started trusting myself more, I attracted more coaches who respected what I had to offer. I attracted more coaches who helped me and supported me in ways that were meaningful to me. I attracted more coaches who told me that I could trust myself, who told me that I was good enough, who told me that I was going to be inspired with amazing ideas that would be perfect for me and perfect for my audience. I felt differently about myself and I attracted different experiences. And then recently, maybe within like the past like month, 2 months, I had an experience where a coach was teaching me this thing about headlines and subtitles and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, so a subtitle like this and this and this. And she was like, well, no, be a little bit more specific. And I'm like, okay, a subtitle like this and this and this. And she was like, well, no. And what about this? And what da 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 da? And then she ended up giving me an example, but the example wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. And she was saying that I wasn't specific enough and it was really triggering me. And I ended up being inspired to create something different. But at some point, I just felt intuitively to let go of what she was telling me because it obviously didn't work for me. That's not what I needed for my specific program that I was working on at the time. I let it go in one ear and out the other because she works and she runs her business and she makes multiple 6 figures doing this work. And that's great for her. And I know somebody else who runs a business who's making multi-millions of dollars and she doesn't run her shit that way. What do I know for sure? What I know for sure is that I can make anything happen. So if I can take any route, if I can behave in any way and get my desire, what way do I want to behave? My job is to decide how I want to behave and to build out my belief system to support the way that I want to behave. That's feminine leadership. Feminine leadership in relationships is to decide that you want to love yourself deeply and completely, that you want to be good enough for your person, created perfectly for your person, that you want your soulmate to be out there, that you want your soulmate to exist, that you want your soulmate to be coming to you, connecting with you, seeking you out. Your job is to build out that belief. Your job is to utilize your thoughts and your focus and your attention through meditation, through journaling, through EFT tapping. Start thinking different thoughts, feeling different ways, emitting a different vibration, and attracting that soulmate into your life. That's what they mean when they say, I don't chase, I attract. You're not quote unquote doing nothing, but the action that you're taking looks significantly different. Hypermasculine way of being. Oh my God. Have you seen those videos of those women who are like, you want to get your husband? You need to start going out on dates with multiple men every single week. You need to be dating 3 guys a week. I've got a date on Monday. I've got a date on Wednesday. I've got a date on Friday. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, I hate that. That doesn't work for me. Now, if I was somebody who loved dating, I don't. If I was somebody who loved dating, then sure, that would sound good to me. I hated it. I don't like dating. I traveled around the United States. I had lots of different experiences. I lived in this place and I lived in this place and I had this experience and I had this experience and I dated. I was out there. Men hit on me. I'm wanted. I'm desirable, blah, blah, blah. I fucking hated it. Yes, there were moments where it was entertaining. Yes, there were moments where it was flattering. Yes, it did wonders for my ego. But did I enjoy it? No. And so I decided, God, angels, universe, you're not going to get this out of me. You're not going to get this out of me. There's so many people who talk about, you want to find your man. Your man is not going to come to you as you're sitting in your living room, but he might. But what if he fucking did? What if your soulmate was driving and he got lost and he was taking a turn down your fucking street and then he got a flat tire and then his cell phone died and then his car battery fucking died. And so he couldn't call for help. And so he had to go to a house. He knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Then he went to the neighbor's house. Knocked on the door. Congratulations, it's your fucking house. You go to the front door. You open the front door. Bam! Love at first sight. You're welcome. If you were to sit, and I'm talking from a law of attraction, law of assumption standpoint, you take your ass to that place in your mind. You create that experience in your world of, girl, shut the fuck up. How did I just meet the love of my life? And I'm sitting here in my living room watching Twilight. How did I just meet the love of my life? And I'm sitting here in my room watching Twilight. You think those thoughts. You feel those feelings. You emit that vibe. You attract. That's feminine leadership. That hyper masculine way of being is exhausting. You decide what you want to do. You decide the experience that you want to have. I told my spirit team years ago, you're going to send me the love of my life now. I'm not doing the rest of any of this shit. Not happening. I was just very unavailable for it. I don't want to date around. I don't want to question it. I don't like any part of that experience. I don't want to date 5 guys at one time. I don't want to talk to 5 people at one time. I don't like that. I'm a social person, kind of, sort of, sometimes. I can talk to you, Miranda, 2 times a week for maybe an hour, 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours. And then I stop this recording. And then I go into my room and I talk to myself and I talk to God. And that's it. I hate that idea and that concept. So I'm not available for it. And because I know how to build out a belief. And I already have that belief built up. But I attract my soulmate into my life. That's how life works for me. Feminine leadership is being in the vibe of having that relationship, of having that meet cute, of having that commitment before it's manifested. Take it a step further in your actual relationships, in your actual dealings with people and human beings. Feminine leadership is when you're willing to hold an energetic standard. And let me say this in a different way. Abraham Hicks' law of attraction. My feeling good is not contingent upon your behavior. Your behavior doesn't determine how I feel because I'm a grown-up. Your behavior doesn't determine how I vibrate because I'm the leader of my reality. That's feminine leadership. Well, now I can't feel good and I can't see him as a leader because, oh my God, yes, this is my favorite bullshit that I see on the internet. I can't be in my feminine energy because he's not in his masculine energy. And for me to be in my feminine energy, then he has to be in his masculine energy, or else I'm going to become in my masculine energy. Wrong. Boo. I'm throwing tomatoes. She ain't no diva. What you said? Not to me. She ain't no diva. Baby, if you're not a feminine leader, just say that. Feminine leadership. There's an emphasis on leadership. Are you a leader? or a follower. Femininity is a lot of things, but femininity is not weak. Femininity is receiving. Femininity is not a follower. If you understand anything about what I just said to you, masculinity is following. Can we be honest? And the process of manifestation, you have to want your desire first. Your desire is yours. It's in your vibrational escrow. It's in your vortex. That's feminine energy. That's emotion. That's feeling. And then you get inspired action. Action comes as a consequence of feminine desire. You don't take action and then get a desire. What would you be moving towards? What would you be taking action towards? Masculine energy contains feminine energy. Masculine energy contains feminine energy. Masculine energy responds to feminine energy. Feminine energy receives. Masculine energy gives. You're essentially saying, I can't receive until he gives. I can't receive until he shows up. I can't feel good until it's in my physical reality. And baby, that's masculine leadership. That's a hyper masculine way of being. I can't feel wealthy. There's no money in my bank account. And that's not manifestation. That's not feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is holding an energetic standard. I'm going to feel good no matter what. I'm going to feel good about my soulmate relationship, regardless of what you do or do not do. I'm going to feel amazing about my soulmate relationship, period. Because, and I feel like you know exactly what I'm about to say. Because I want my last name dropped, meaning I want to be married. And I want my eggs cracked, meaning I want a child. That's my desire. And I'm the leader of my life. I'm the leader of my mind. I'm the leader of my energy. What the fuck do I look like? Saying, I can't have the thing that I want. I can't have the relationship that I want. I can't have the shit that I desire because of something that a man did or didn't do. I can't feel the energy and the vibe of being blessed and loved and supported and taken care of in a relationship. I can't do that because the guy isn't showing up, because the guy did this, because the guy That's not leadership. That's not how leaders talk. Have you met a leader before, Miranda? Have you met a leader before? Have you had a conversation with a leader before? Have you met a diva before? Have you observed a diva before? Think about Beyonce. Beyonce in the Renaissance movie, and she was a total diva in that scene. Oh, this is such a good example. She's like, I want these kind of lights. I want lights this size, or a camera lens. I think it's like a camera lens. I want a camera lens this size. The white guy handling the tech is like, we don't have camera lenses of that size. Beyonce, if she wasn't a diva, if she wasn't a leader, would have said, I can't have the camera lenses that I want because they said that they don't have the camera lenses. I want the camera lenses, but I can't have the camera lenses because they said that they don't have it. They're the people. Something outside of me is the thing that determines whether or not I get my desire. That's giving your power away to somebody else. That's giving your power away to something else. I can't have what I want because somebody else said no. I can't have what I want because somebody else said it's not possible. I can't have what I want because da-da-da-da-da. No, that's not leadership. That's not diva behavior. That's not diva behavior. What does Beyonce do in that moment? She says, actually, I looked it up. And they do fucking have it. So what now? And I bet she got the lenses that she was looking for. Why? Because she's a leader. A leader doesn't need you to act in integrity for them to get what they want, because they're going to get what they want, because they decided that they're going to get what they want, because they're committed to the vision, period. I said I wanted camera lenses of this size. So guess what the fuck we're finna do? Get camera lenses of this size. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, you read my mind. You read my mind. That's feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is not about forcing. It's not about arguing. It's not about threatening. It's not about saying, you have to show up in this way. You have to propose marriage to me by tomorrow or else. Feminine leadership is not an ultimatum. I'm getting married. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm getting married. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm getting married. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm getting married. I don't know what's alive within you, but I'm getting married. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm in a relationship with a man who shows up. I don't know what's going on with you, and I really don't care, because I'm in a relationship with a man that I can rely on. I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm in a relationship with a man who meets my emotional needs. I don't know what's going on with you. When the guy doesn't text you back, when you haven't heard from him in a day, I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm in a relationship with a guy who texts me back. And it's not about a conversation that you have with him. It's not about a message that you send him. It's not actually taking that physical action to type out that message. I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm in a relationship. No, that's passive aggressive behavior. That's what we talked about at the beginning of this. That's not feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is my mind. I am in control of my mind. I am in control of my thoughts. I am in control of my energy. I am in control of my vibration. I don't know what's going on with you, but I do not care. In my mind, in my energy, in my vibration, I'm married as fuck. I'm united with my soulmate as fuck. That's who I am. That's how I live. That's the experience that I'm creating. That's the vibration that I'm emitting. That's what I'm attracting. That's what I'm calling into my life, because I'm the leader of my life, and I've decided that my time is now. I've decided that my time to be married is now. I've decided that I want my eggs cracked by tomorrow. And I'm not exactly speaking for myself, but that's the energy. That's the vibe. You want the marriage, you want the guy, you want the relationship, you femininely lead. Is that a word? Femininely lead? It is now. Boom, feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is when you go, I don't know what's going on with you. Meaning, I don't care what's happening within you. I'm going to look at what this experience is reflecting back to me about what I believe, about what I expect, about what I fear, about my childhood experience. I'm going to understand what was going on in my vibration, my thoughts, what I was emitting that would attract this behavior, that would attract this person, that would attract this experience. I'm going to understand that. I'm going to shift that within me because I'm the leader of my thoughts. I'm responsible for my vibration. I can't go on and on and on about how you were such a piece of shit to me. I mean, I could, but it doesn't serve me. I can't do that. I choose not to do that because I'm the person who's responsible for my vibration. I can't harp on the betrayal and the hurt and the pain because I'm responsible for my vibration. And when I sit and I don't move through it and I continue to focus on everything that you are doing wrong, what am I doing? Using my thoughts and focus to focus on everything that you are doing wrong. How am I feeling? The feelings that I naturally feel as a consequence of me thinking about the fact that you're doing wrong. What vibration am I emitting? The guy's doing wrong. The guy's doing wrong. The guy's doing so much wrong. And what am I attracting into my life? Thoughts, people, places, situations, experiences of the guy doing fucking wrong. What am I going to get more of in my reality? The guy doing wrong. Feminine leadership is understanding, okay, the guy did something wrong. Don't like it, don't appreciate it, not okay, whatever. These are things that we know. What was alive within me that attracted this behavior? What is alive within me that was available for being treated this way? Because that's what needs to be addressed. And until I address what's alive within me that's available for being abandoned, until I address what's alive within me that's available for being rejected, until I address what's alive within me that's available for being left out in the cold, hurt, disrespected, not cared for, not shown up for, not prioritized, until I address what's alive within me that is willing to accept and experience and expect this behavior, I'm going to continue to attract it, whether it's from this guy or the next guy or the guy after that. And that's why you get into that cycle where it's the same shit, but a different day. It's the same shit, but a different guy. It's like the same experience with a different fucking avatar. Why does this keep happening to me? Why do we keep getting close and then they ghost me? Why do I keep getting excited thinking that things are going good and then they up and leave? They break up with me. They don't want commitment. They only want a situationship. They don't want anything serious. Why do I keep attracting guys that don't want anything fucking serious? Why do I keep attracting guys that are broke? Why do I keep attracting guys that are in their feminine energy? It's not because that's all that's available in the world. It's because there's something in your vibration. And as long as you're focusing on what's outside of you, as long as you're showing up in that hyper masculine way, only focusing on what you can see and taste and touch and feel and hear, you're ignoring what's alive within you. You're ignoring your emotions. You're ignoring the stories that are going through your subconscious mind. And so what's happening? You're emitting that same vibration. You're focusing in that same way. You're telling those same stories. You're attracting those same experiences. Ta-da! You're in an unsupportive cycle. Feminine leadership is when you understand, okay, this is reflecting something back to me. There's something alive within me as a natural consequence of my lived experience that's available for being treated in this way. And when I clear that up, when I release that, when I move through that, and I'm willing to build out a new belief, I'm willing to tell a new story, I'm willing to assume something different, I'm willing to expect something different, I'm willing to believe for something different, I'll think differently, I'll feel differently, I'll vibrate differently, I'll attract differently, I will experience differently, I will manifest differently. That's feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is when you understand, okay, this unwanted experience is reflecting something back to me. Got it? I'm going to look within myself. I'm going to be introspective. I'm going to find what's inside of me that attracted this experience. I'm going to move it. I'm going to shift it. I'm going to release it. And I'm going to step back into that energy of what I desire. The energy of being in the relationship with the man who's ready, willing, and eager to take care of me, ready, willing, and able to take care of me, ready, willing, and able to support me. You're not just in your feminine energy so that you can get the guy. That's hyper masculine way of being. What do I have to do to get what I want? That's hyper masculine. Who do I have to pretend to be to get what I want? Oh, I have to pretend to be feminine to get the guy? Okay, I'll pretend to be feminine. It's not working. He's feminine. That's still hyper masculine bullshit. You gotta be really feminine. You gotta commit to the bit. You got to commit to the belief system. I'm not feminine because I want a man to show up in his masculine energy. I'm feminine because I'm feminine. I was always going to be that because that's just how I am. I was always going to embody that feminine way of life because that's just the easier way of fucking living. I was always going to show up and lead in a feminine way in my life because that's just what aligns with my heart and my soul. So regardless of what the guy does, I'm going to be in my feminine energy. And what happens as you're in your feminine energy and you're embodying that feminine energy and you switch that polarity within yourself, you're going to inspire that change in a man, or you're going to attract different men, depending on who you are, where you are in your journey, and what you want and what you desire. That's feminine leadership. You take the initiative, not to force somebody to change something, not to force somebody to heal something, and a lot of women, especially women in like the tarot community, spiritual community, it's still hyper masculine. He needs to heal this. He needs to focus on this. He needs to work through this. The reason he's not showing up is because he's scared of how he feels, and he this and he this and he this. All of that focusing, all of that critiquing, all of that focusing and controlling energy of this is what he needs to shift. This is what he needs to heal. This is what he needs to do. Still masculine. Still fucking masculine. Feminine energy, feminine leadership. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you need to heal. Not my job, not my responsibility, not my business. You are a capable, competent adult man. You can handle your shit. Not my job. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm being loved and supported. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm being taken care of. Law of attraction, if things need to shift, if things need to heal, if things need to move, the pieces that need to be moved will be moved. Not your business. That's a part of the how, not your job. Does that trigger you? The idea of not having your hands on every single piece of that puzzle, the idea of not knowing what he is or isn't healing, the idea of not knowing what he is or isn't doing, what he is or isn't feeling. Feminine leadership. I don't care. I don't know what's going on, and I don't want to know. I'm being loved. I'm being supported. I'm being taken care of. And before we end this episode, you want to master feminine leadership now in your business, in your relationship, in your life. Because that's also how you're going to be a mother to your kids. And I have a real life example. 2 years ago, this was when? It was the fall of, it feels like a lifetime ago, but it was just the fall of 2023. That's crazy. I'm a completely different fucking woman. Fall of 2023, last year, I briefly reconnected with an old friend. She was like my best friend in high school, and a couple years after that, we briefly reconnected. She did my nails. She'd had a baby a couple years ago. And so this is like our first day hanging out again. She did my nails, and then she had to go pick up her baby from her baby daddy who was watching the baby. And I was super excited to see the baby because if you know me, then you know that I love and adore children, love kids, 10 out of 10 would recommend. So the baby's like a toddler now, and I'm super excited to see her. I haven't seen her since she was like 6 months old and our friendship ended the last time. So I'm super excited to see her and I'm super excited to play because, that's like who I am. That's my whole thing. And she's like, yeah, the baby hasn't been feeling good lately. She's been feeling sick. I don't know what's going on. Just the baby's not feeling good. The baby was under the weather. And I'm like, boo, throwing tomatoes at the situation, not the baby, of course. But I hate this because I want to play. What's the point? What's the point of having a baby around if you can't play with them? Like, come on. So I'm like, oh, I can't believe that she's not feeling well. But I'm the creator of my reality. And I understand that the stories that I tell myself are powerful. And I understand that the things that I believe and the things that I expect come true for myself in my world. So am I going to tell the story that the baby is sick and she's not feeling good and she's not eating and she's not getting better and I'm worried? No, I'm not going to tell that fucking story. Of course I'm not going to tell that story. It's so obvious to me that I would never tell that story. So what happens? She picks up the baby and then I see the baby and then the baby's a little bit cranky and she has cancer placements. So you get it. If you don't get it, then we don't have time to explain it. So she's a little bit cranky and she's a little bit standoffish. And even though she's a little bit cranky and a little bit standoffish, I'm still loving. She's a little bit cranky. She's a little bit standoffish. If I wasn't a feminine leader, then I'd be like, wow, I'm really taking this personally. She doesn't want to play with me, who's not exactly a random stranger, but a little bit of a random stranger. She hasn't seen me in years. I want to play with her. I want to connect. She's being a little bit cranky. Now I'm telling stories based on my observations. Me feeling good is reliant upon my reality giving me something desirable. And when my reality is not giving me something desirable, I'm telling a negative story, which is causing me to feel negative feelings, emitting a negative vibration and attracting a negative experience. She would have continued to be crabby and sick. That's not what I did. In my mind, I'm like, this girl loves me. I know her, she knows me. She might not remember me consciously, but I know cheetah sister soul connection when I experience one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my little cheetah sister. I know you. I talked to you when you were growing inside of the womb. And when you would hear my voice, you would kick around. Girl, you might not know me, but you know me. You know me. So I'm not mad and I'm not upset. I'm not jumping up and down for joy. Of course, I'm devastated. I mean, I wasn't devastated, but I wasn't happy. But okay. She's having a moment. She's a little bit cranky. We get it. I understand. I would be cranky too. When I don't feel good, I'm not happy. And I remember she was just looking at me. And she just kept looking at me. And I said hi to her and stuff. And I said, do you remember me? And she didn't say anything back, but she nodded. And I remember that was such a special moment for me because I'm like, yeah. Maybe not on a super conscious level, but in her heart and her soul and her spirit, like, you know who I am, girly. I know that. So that was a beautiful moment. And then she wanted to eat some food. So then we went and got some food and she just started warming up to me. And then we, at some point, some way, somehow, ended up in her living room, my friend's living room. I'm with the baby, the friend's in the kitchen doing something. And she's got these different toys. So we're playing with the toys and we're playing with this ball. And I'm just being my fun, silly self. And she's laughing and she's having a great time. And we're playing. Because of course she is. And we're playing catch and she is still developing those, I think, fine motor skills. She's still learning hand-eye coordination. Is that a fine motor skill? Whatever. She's just at that stage in development. She's like, what, 2.5 years old? So we're playing catch and she's throwing the ball to me and I catch the ball and then I throw the ball to her. Cutest thing you've ever seen in your fucking life. When I throw the ball to her, she goes to clasp her hands together to catch the ball. But she's like a millisecond too late. So the ball, gently hits her tummy and then she clasps her hands together. But by the time that she puts her hands together, the ball is already on the floor. And it's the cutest thing that you've ever seen in your life because, oh my God, and she's loving it. We're having a great time. She's laughing. She clasps her hand together. She missed the ball. I'm like, oh my God. And she's laughing and she's having a great time. And so we're just playing together. And I'm in my element because I love to do this shit. I love children. So we're having a great time. And then we decide to go over to my house. And then she comes over to my house. And throughout this whole entire time, I'm holding that vision of her in my mind, of her feeling better. I don't think that thought in my mind of, oh, she's not feeling well. She's not feeling good. I'm like, she's getting better. She's feeling better and better and better. She's feeling better and better and better. I'm just seeing her feeling better and better and better. I'm just simply not accepting the fact that she doesn't feel good. I'm just seeing her feeling better and better and better. Her health is increasing. I'm holding the vision of her being healthy, period. So she comes over my house and I'm cooking this vegetable pasta, whatever, and she was having an experience where she'd been feeling sick for the past several days, so she really hadn't been eating, and now she's over my house and she's like, pasta? Pasta? I'm like, girl, I can make you pasta. We can have pasta. So she's having pasta and butter and she's eating so much pasta and her mom's like, oh my God, she's really loving this pasta. She has not been eating and da-da-da-da-da. Of course she's eating the freaking pasta. Because I take feminine leadership over my life. And when somebody who I love and I'm taking responsibility for, and I consider myself to be a caregiver of, you're a child in my life. I consider myself to be a caregiver of you, period. As somebody who takes feminine leadership in her own life, I'm not going to sit and tell the story that my kid is sick and she's having a terrible time. And I'm not going to allow myself to feel good about my kid's health because of what I see in the physical reality. I'm going to tell the story that my kid is doing better and better and better. And she's eating and she's thriving and great, amazing things are happening. And that's what I did. And she had some pasta and I was chopping up vegetables because I was creating this vegetable hidden veggie pasta thing for myself. And she's like, I want some of this. And so she takes a bite of a random vegetable. I think it was a bite of zucchini or something. And she was like, I really want some of these grapes. I'm like opening up the fridge and stuff. She's pointing to stuff in the fridge. She's like, I want some of this. I'm like, okay, girl, here you go. So she's having pasta and a random bite of zucchini and some grapes. She's eating an abundance of food. We're having a great time. We're playing. We're laughing. But that was not the experience that she had been having. That was the opposite of the experience she had been having. That was the opposite of what her mom was expecting. When you're a feminine leader, okay, in manifestation, period, the dominant vibration is going to win. I've got a bigger vibration built up, a greater expectation of things going my way, of understanding the importance of energy, of my ability to influence. It's my reality. I'm the vibrational dominant in this bitch, like, period. So the baby is getting better and better. Period, point blank. Like, that's it. You don't just want to be a feminine leader in your relationships. You want to be a feminine leader in your life so that you can be a feminine leader for your family. Because of course the kids are going to take medicine, and of course the kids are going to go to the doctor if the kids need to go to the doctor. But why would you allow a sickness to run through your family for several weeks when we could have an incredibly short turnaround? I do it for myself and my own health. Don't ask me about what my vagina is going through right now. That's a completely different story, but I am doing it in that area. We don't even have time to talk about my vagina, so just pretend I didn't say that. But, you know, for integrity reasons, I had to give you the whole thing. But I do it for my own health. I do it for my own body. I do it in every single aspect of life. And sometimes it might take a second for certain results to show up because you've got a lot of momentum built up in a different direction. But I didn't have any negative momentum built up around the baby girl because, you know, I hadn't been telling the story that she was sick for several days. So that was very easy for me to imagine and see something different. You want to take feminine leadership in your life and in your relationships. And the thing about it is that when you're leading with your energy, leading with your emotions, using your thoughts, attention, and focus to impact how you feel and impact how you vibrate and impact what you attract, then that inspired action is a natural consequence. In the law of assumption, they call it a bridge of events. In the law of assumption, they call it step 2, take inspired action. There is an emphasis on inspired. You don't have to have an experience where you're throwing spaghetti at the wall. I'm going to show up to the men's section of Macy's to find a man. I'm going to show up to the men's section of Neiman Marcus to find a man. I'm going to go to Bloomie's in the men's section to find a man. I'm going to go golf to find a man. I'm going to go out to a bar and I'm going to ask for this specific drink to find a man. That's throwing spaghetti at the fucking wall. That's going, okay, what do I got to do? I'm going to do 1,000,001 different things. I'm going to date 1,000,001 different guys. Feminine leadership is when you're deliberately creating that experience in your internal world. That's your mind. You're creating that experience of the relationship. You're creating that experience of the connection. And inspired action, there's emphasis on inspiration. There are times when you're going to take inspired action and you don't even know that that inspired action is helping you to get what you want and desire. I'll tell one last story, then we're getting the hell off of here. Okay, fine. Yes, I'll tell the story. When I was in 2017, yes, in 2018, it was 2018, the end of winter, it was like February. Psyche comes up to me. This guy is going to confess his feelings for you and you're going to be happy. I start expecting the love of my life to walk into my life. And although it wasn't the guy that I thought that it was, what happened? I started telling myself the story that I should expect the love of my life. He's coming. I was looking for him actively. I'm like, who is he? And where is he? First man that I found whose name started with that, I was like, bitch, I'm here. And she was doing the best that she could with what she had. We're not going to judge her. The entire year of 2018, I'm thinking thoughts and I'm feeling feelings and I'm emitting a vibration of, I've got the love of my life. In the summer of 2018, Jay-Z and Beyonce, the Carters, released an album. That album is called Everything is Love. And so that album is out. I'm listening to that album. I'm in the vibe of the love of my life. This is like the end of summer 2018. I meet this guy who I think is the one, regardless of whether or not he was the one. He was not. I'm thinking thoughts and I'm emitting vibrations. The one, the one, the one. It's in my energy. You attract people, places, things, experiences. Inspired action, synchronicity, serendipity. I'm going to my college university at a specific time, and I am taking a specific train. Do you know how it actually is really weird now that I think about it? Because I was a sophomore in college, and what that means is, based on where I went to school, I would take the 6 train from the East Village to the Upper East Side in Manhattan. One train, go all the way, get off at the one stop, and then walk a couple blocks. On this specific day, I remember I was on the way to school, but I was taking the Q train. I was getting off of the Q train, which is not a route that I would normally take. I don't even remember what the hell was going on, that I was at that place. And at the exact date and time that I was at that place, getting off of that train, there's a man who I know, but I don't know, but I have an awareness of to some degree. Like subconsciously, there's like this recognition thing that happens. I'm like, I know you consciously, and my soul is like, I know you. I didn't wake up that morning thinking, I'm going to find a guy who's important to me in my life today. I thought that I already found that guy. I was emitting the vibration. I looked back at myself. And I know that we talk a lot of shit about the incident guy. And to this day, if the NIGGA was in front of me and he was on fire, I would not spit on him. But one purpose that he did serve incredibly well was that I was so in that almost Taylor Swift, lavender haze. My energy was so strong. I was vibrating at so high a frequency. When you are emitting a vibration, it's like what you're asking for has no choice but to show up in your life. I'm doing all of these things for the entire year of 2018. No conscious idea of what's happening, but my energy and my spirit and my higher self and my soul is like, yeah, this relationship is going to be so great and so amazing, but you are so far. You are, you are so far from actually being ready for that. And we really have to show gratitude for the incident, because I think had I connected with the guy in 2018, then I probably would be talking about him the way that I talk about the guy from the incident. So like, thank you for your service. Like, thank you for sacrificing yourself. Thank you for being willing to be the man that I couldn't stand. Like, appreciate you. Like, that's good stuff. Anyway, when you're emitting that vibration so strongly, he has no choice but to show up. Your desires have no choice but to show up. And again, like we talked about in that one video on my YouTube, your reality isn't resisting you. There's nothing telling you that you can't have your soulmate. There's nothing in your life going, I don't want it. Your soulmate is not out there in the world going, I don't want you. I don't want to be with you. I don't like you. I don't like that. It's not happening. It's not happening on a cellular level. It's not happening on a soul level. Your person is out there and their soul is going, I want you. I desire you. I want you in my life. I'm calling you in. And I know this from experience, not with the guy, not just with the guy, but with myself. The year before that, 2017, I'm in college, friends with benefits, situationship, talking to this guy on Tinder, talking to this guy on Tinder. It's like, I liked this guy. This was like the beginning of 2018 now. I developed a crush on this guy that I went to college with. And I really liked him a lot. And he went to church a lot. And and I would think about him, and I would think about liking him, and I would think about being with him, desiring a long-term relationship with him. Could he be the one? And you could even say, is that the thing that started it? But even though I was thinking about that and wishing that I could have that with him, I wasn't consciously saying that that's what I wanted. My physical was doing the opposite of that. I wasn't being direct with him about what I wanted. I wasn't, like, I was talking about it like, what if we get together and we get married and have babies? But like, it was like a, like a, not a serious thing. Just like, oh, like, what if, wouldn't that be so cool? I wasn't seriously owning that fact. I would have never gone up to him and said, I want to date you and I would like to be married and I am dating for marriage and I think that you might be a great partner for me and I would love to get to know you better. Like, I would have never done anything like that. I didn't fully own that desire to be loved. But because I was trying to connect with that guy, I was in that library on that day, and that psychic comes up to me and she tells me, oh yeah, this guy is going to come and confess feelings and da-da-da-da-da, whatever. And it was from that day forward that I was like, I gotta start loving myself because this is fucking up my love life. And it was on that day, at that moment, that something shifted in me. A realization of a desire was born where I was like, whoa, I do want love. It's like I had crushes. I had guys that I wanted to be with. I had, guys that I fantasized about marrying. And what does my name sound like with his last name? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just adorable, cute stuff. But on that moment, in like February of 2018, something shifted within me. And I became aware of a desire that I had for my soulmate, for the one. It's like she planted a seed within me of like, you do have a person. Your person is out there. And you are going to find your person. And you're going to find your person soon. And I took that and I ran with it. And I opened up. And I committed to loving myself. And then it kind of took me like, 5 years, but also it was like 20 years, 19 years, 18 years, whatever. of like, trauma. So, 5 years, that's pretty damn good. But the point is that something changed. My energy changed. My focus changed. The stories that I was telling myself about love and romance changed. I wasn't asking myself, will I get a person? Will I find my person? I really believed that my person was coming. I was in a romantic mood. I was in a romantic energy. I was expecting and assuming for romance. So just because somebody isn't consciously aware of a desire that they have doesn't mean that they don't have that desire. And just because somebody is showing up saying that they don't want something doesn't necessarily mean that they don't want that thing. And please do not take this in like a blurred lines, Robin Thicke, negative, non-consensual way. Just being honest about the complexity of human fucking beings. I can look back at myself and I can look back at my life and I can look back on all of the crushes that I had and the situationships and the toxic not relationships. Mwah. Shout out to everybody who refused to claim me. It's so real. Commit to the bit. I've never been in a relationship ever. Absolutely. All of the not relationships that I was in, all I wanted was to be loved. But I didn't honor that. I didn't accept it. I didn't express it. I wasn't honest about it. I didn't allow it in. I didn't feel worthy of it. I was telling the story that I was abandonable, not lovable, not good enough, not pretty enough, would never be the priority. And that's what I got again and again and again and again and again. Then something shifted when I realized that I had a person and that I could have a person. And I was emitting that vibration. I was emitting that frequency. It was absolutely serendipitous. So you're going to take action. But your action doesn't have to be calculated. Your action doesn't have to be a part of your conscious plan. You're co-creating with God. You're co-creating with the divine. You're co-creating with source energy who is infinitely intelligent, source energy who knows when that man is going to be walking into the train station, source energy that knows when your person is going to walk into that bar, source energy that knows where your soulmate is. God knows. When is the last time that you asked God where your soulmate was? He has the answer. God knows where your person is. God will guide you to them. I know a mentor of mine, tells the story of how she met her person. She wasn't going out because somebody told her that she needed to go out to meet guys. She was out with a friend. And she passed this guy on the street. God knew that her person would be on that street and that they would see each other and that their eyes would meet. That they would feel attracted to each other. That they would connect with each other. That they would hit it off. So the point is, you're going to take action. But action doesn't need to be your focus. Because the more that you focus on your desire, the more that you intentionally emit that vibration, the more you attract it. You get the inspired idea to go to the movie theater at this time. You get the inspired idea to take a turn here instead of here. You get the inspired idea. To wake up and go to Trader Joe's. You get the inspired idea to take action in a very specific way. And you align. You align with your person. You align with your guy. You get your desire. You manifest, okay? And that's what feminine leadership is all about. Feminine leadership is about casting the vision. It's about holding the vision unconditionally. It's about being the leader of your mind, being the leader of your energy. You feeling good is not reliant on somebody else treating you some type of way. What if you didn't have to walk away for there to be a change in behavior? You're only willing to expect a change in behavior when you pull your energy back and you behave in passive-aggressive ways. Feminine leadership is willing to expect a change in behavior even when she continues to show up in a loving way. She's willing to expect a change in behavior because she's willing to feel good. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what's going on with you. I don't know what the fuck this is, but I know what's alive within me. I know what I've shifted. I know what I'm choosing to experience, and I'm going to hold the vibe. And my reality is going to shift because my reality is responding to me. I take responsibility for how I feel. I take responsibility for what I receive. And if I have an experience in my life where somebody isn't showing up for me, then I take responsibility for that. And it's not really about blame at all. You just take radical responsibility for your fucking life. And if other people need to grow the fuck up to stay around and be in your life, then they'll grow the fuck up to stay around and be in your life. And if other different people need to come into your life to reflect back the new story that you're telling, then boom, that's what will happen. But at the end of the day, you decide. Amanda Francis says, you get a say. That's feminine leadership. Okay? Oh, that was so good. All right. Next steps. First things first. You want a free resource? I've got the free resource library. There are over 10, I think there's 12, 13, 14 workbooks, digital journals, EFT tapping programs, meditations, and more. Inside of that, there's a workbook. It's called Manifest the Loving Man. It's a workbook made to help you tap into the vibration of a man who is ready, willing, and able to take care of you. This is for my girlies with abandonment wounds, the girlies who had dads that were emotionally avoidant, parents who didn't show up for them. That's for you. You're welcome. And there's an EFT tapping script for tapping into the love of a lifetime. Now, this shit is incredibly good. So I suggest you checking out the free resource library. If you want access to it, you can click the links in the description or the show notes. And if you want something even deeper, you want to get into the nooks and crannies, baby girl, you need to check out the Love After Loss course. It's literally in the name. Love After Loss is the professional woman's guide to processing the pain of the past, opening up to love after heartbreak, and manifesting your soulmate, your person, the love of your life. I love this course. I love the contents of this course. I love how this course is set up. Every single step of this course is taking you deeper and deeper in your healing journey. It's like you're peeling back the layers. In module 1, you start focusing on processing the pain you experienced in your previous romantic experiences, right? You're learning, and as you move through module, you're purging the negative emotions from your previous romantic experiences so that you can clear that space in your energy field and you can actually move on from the past. You're learning how to hold space for yourself while you go through your healing process so that there's no more rushing or invalidating what you're going through. No more having that conversation with yourself where you're like, I shouldn't keep talking about this anymore. It's like honoring where you are and honoring how you feel. You're learning how to identify the unsupportive stories that you've started telling yourself about who you are and what you get to have in relationships. You're identifying the root causes of the drama, stress, and pain in your previous relationships so that you can get clarity on your identity, the story you've been telling yourself about who you are, and you can get clear on your former partner's role in your life, right? What stories have you been telling about men, and how is that former partner showing up and reflecting those stories back to you? The last thing you're doing in module 1 is you're identifying your current expectations in romance so that you understand exactly what unhelpful beliefs have contributed to the dynamics that you've attracted. So module 1, processing the pain, you're purging and you're getting clear on what's alive within you. Module 3, you're looking at your childhood experiences. You're healing everything that you've brought up in the first module. You're healing it at the root. Module number 3, the next module, you're starting to focus on your past self. You're starting to focus on the relationship that you just got out of, your most recent heartbreak or your most disastrous heartbreak. You're moving through that energy. In module 4, you're doing a cord cutting moment. You're releasing the energy of the past. And module 5 is like the cherry on top. It's the perfect one. You're expanding into the vibration of your desire so that you can call in the love. And across the video and audio trainings, the journal prompts, and the workbook of module 5, you will understand the difference between harping on the negative stories and processing the negative stories, because there is a enormous difference, right? You can always take your time to process, but harping on that pain is never the vibe, and it's not going to help you. It's going to perpetuate that cycle that we talked about in this episode, where it's the same shit but a different day, same guy but a different vessel. You're going to learn how to call in your soulmate even when you're still moving through the pain of the past. Even when you're still healing, you can call in your soulmate, and you're going to learn how to do this without resisting your pain or forcing yourself to quote unquote get over it. Inside of module 5, you're going to learn how to use your likes and dislikes from your previous relationships to get the ultimate clarity on what you actually want in romance. You're going to identify and shift your limiting beliefs, doubts, and fears around having your soulmate in your life. It's a completely new experience. I'm sure that you've got some worries. I'm sure that you've got some fears around repeating old cycles, being abandoned. You're going to identify and shift that in this 5th module. You're also going to get clear on who your soulmate is, what kind of love you get to have. This is where you start building out that belief system, and you're getting clear on what it feels like to be together as you magnetize the relationship of your dreams into your life. That's that feminine leadership component where you're holding the vision, you're casting the vision, you're learning how to show up in the world and create that experience internally where you have the relationship. Create that experience internally where you've got the love of your life so that you can show up and you can say, you know what, I don't know how you're behaving. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm in an amazing relationship. I don't know what you have going on, but I'm loved and taken care of. I don't know what's going on with you, but I'm with my soulmate, period, point blank, right? And the last thing that you're doing in module 5 is you're creating certainty in your love life as you tap into the vibe of an unbreakable bond with the soulmate who is committed to loving you. You're going to tie this connection to your purpose and your destiny here on earth, right? Your soulmate is not just your wish. He is your destiny. He is your inevitable destiny. I just recorded and added that into module 5, and it's a really great training. The workbook that I created and the training in and of itself is just incredibly amazing. So many wonderful shifts. I just shared some of those shifts with a client that I had on a call today, and she said that the shift was absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend grabbing this course. You can enroll now. It will be linked in the description box or the show notes, depending on where you're listening. You can learn more about the course. You can read some previous student client testimonials, and you can enroll using that link. I love you so much. Thank you for listening. Did you get something out of today's episode? If you did, please comment down below if you're watching on YouTube and let me know. I love to hear from you. I love reading your comments and responding to your comments. And I freak out every single time there's a new one. So please talk to me. I love you so much, and I will talk to you next Monday. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you laughed, learned something new, or just loved the time we spent together today, please leave a review of the podcast so that it's easier for the other Mirandas of the world to find it too. And if you want to connect with me between episodes, I highly suggest joining our free Facebook group using the link in the show notes. Love you lots, and I'll see you in the next episode.